In this video, I'm going to try and provide you with some information about repairing a concrete garage floor slab, and then maybe using some type of a material or a epoxy system to go over it after you have repaired it. So the first thing you need to be familiar with is if you see white powder, this could be effervescence, and you can get more information on the internet on that. It seems to be a chemical reaction to the concrete, and some of the information I've gathered on it says that it's some type of salts in the concrete that weaken it. And I have seen it plenty of times, don't know the chemical reactions involved in it, but I have actually came across something like this and grabbed a screwdriver and simply shoved it into the concrete, and it's almost a never-ending thing. It can really weaken the concrete surface. If you have exposed aggregates, the rocks, this could be a sign that the slab is coming apart. And the main reason why I want to make this video is because some of the fillers don't stick to this stuff for forever, and some of the coatings don't either. And it's not going to help if you have a slab, a concrete surface that is already falling apart and continues to fall apart. So I've cleaned something like this before. I've used chemicals to clean it, and the rocks just keep coming out and keep coming out, and the concrete is weak. If that's the case, you might need to replace the slab. Now, another problem is, you can see this is an epoxy coated system, some type of coating system, separating from the concrete. And you're probably thinking, hey, wait a minute, is it because the surface is smooth? Well, a rougher surface might help this stuff adhere better, but again, you need to follow the manufacturer's instructions. And you got to keep in mind that some of these systems are going to, they're going to work, some of them are going to fail. It's like rolling the dice. If you need to replace the slab and it's going to be $2,000 to replace the slab in your garage, and only $200 to try one of these epoxy systems, why not give it a shot? Try it and see if it works. If it doesn't, you're out a couple $100, but I'll leave that up to you. You can see here that there was some type of a filler applied, and then the epoxy coated surface over that. And some of these, the areas with a filler in it have already popped out. You can see it. I doubt if they just filled this section, but they didn't fill this section or these sections over here. So you can definitely see where the repair stuff is starting to separate. And of course, the material that went over that, the finishing system for the entire garage floor is already starting to come apart here. Here are a few more things that you might need to think about. Let's go over the way a garage slab can be constructed. The first up on the list would be that it has some type of a stem wall system. And this would be a two-pour foundation. You have the stem walls, and then you have the garage slab. If this is the case, then you can simply remove the garage slab and re-pour it. The footings, the existing footings and stem walls will still support the structure. But if you don't have that and you have this would be a solid pour system. One pour, a monolithic pour. The foundation and the garage slab is tied together with concrete. This would be hard to repair or replace because you would need to jackhammer out. You might need to get a concrete saw, cut it into sections, and you might need a chipping hammer to chip some of the concrete away. But this actually is going to be a little harder. And then you might just have a solid slab. And if this is the case, you would need to somehow support the building and then remove the slab. But this would be the toughest one, and this is the most uncommon for a garage floor. Let's go ahead and take a look at what happens if we have a few spots. Let's say you have a small spot like this. Then you can actually give it a shot. Clean it up and fill it up with some type of a filler. Same thing with something like this. You know, if you got some area where you got some exposed aggregate over here, give it a shot. Clean the area as good as you can, and then fill it up with your whatever product you selected. Now, what if you have a crack going across the foundation or the slab? You know, the first thing I would look at with something like this would be to see if the stem wall is actually cracked. If this is the case, then you might have an erosion problem. And if you were to fill the area or something like that to try and get it level or use a epoxy coating system, you could end up with the same crack again, because the crack could actually be that one part of the building is actually sinking and the other part isn't. Now, if you have a concrete slab that's got plenty of cracks in it, holes, something like that, you might not even want to bother. You might want to just remove the slab or somehow replace the entire foundation. But again, I'll leave that up to you, because if you can clean the slab and you know, you can put some type of a epoxy coating system over it and it lasts for a few years, then that might be perfect for you, just exactly what you need. Last but not least, if you do patch a few holes that you have, you could end up with something like this. You know, you fill it up and it cracks around the perimeter. You could actually fill something like this up and it could crack on the inside, but the epoxy coated system that you pour over it might not crack, the finishing system. But if you do actually fill a hole like this, you just say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and fill the areas. Wouldn't be a bad idea, and I'm not saying you have to do this, but wouldn't be a bad idea to wait a few months or a year even, just to see if it does separate. And if it doesn't, then you're like, hey, you know what? I'm going for it. I'm going to refinish the entire floor with some type of a compound, and the best one that you've selected, let's say, and hope for the best. Now, like I said, I'm not a big fan of this. If you do have cracked foundations, I do have a foundation in the house I live in right now. It's got the effervescence. That's actually where the pictures came from. That's my garage, and it's got a couple of holes in it. And instead of doing all of this, I just simply went ahead and bought some outdoor carpeting and threw the carpeting over the floor, and that's how I covered up the damage. You know, is this damage going away? No. Do I need to replace it right now? No. Do I want to see the little pitted holes and stuff like that? No. This is just a simple way to solve it. I didn't fill them. If you want, go ahead and fill the holes that you have and then throw some carpet over it or something like that. You know, should you tile something like this? Not if you have cracks in it and you have adhesive, some type of a compound that could fall out, then no. So I probably beat this topic to death enough, so I will end it here. Don't forget to visit our website and check out some of our other videos.